Is it me, or is it burning up in here? Who turned up the heat? Laugh, cry, sweat dry, shifting every gear. Oh, the drama. Three friends riding out this wild left turn. Got a story for every sudden burn. Welcome to the Hot Flash Pod. We're laughing while our bodies play hard. Pull up a chair, you're one of us. Talking through the chaos, calling out the...
Welcome, everybody. You're back at the Hot Flash Pod. As you know, this is the unfiltered space for women navigating heat of midlife. And we're here to laugh, commiserate, and keep it real about the sandwich generation, perimenopause, and everything in between. And so we like to blend storytelling, which we'll do today, with humor always, to tackle the chaos of raising teens, caring for aging parents, and figuring out why we walked into the kitchen. I don't remember, but now we know that we have to think about no homework, no perfection, just real talk from three friends who are here figuring out together. So hello, nice to see you both again.
Howdy. It's been so
But
long.
I know we pretend like we don't see each other, but everybody out there knows that we do. We're just here to share our conversations because we're having all these fun conversations ongoing. I was telling somebody recently that about this podcast, and I said that a big part of it was that we were having conversations, and we said, well, why don't we just do conversations in a podcast? So here we are.
Why not record it?
Why not record it
and share it with all the world?
Yes, I mean, if all the world wants to listen to these stories, but I have to say, I know that we're supposed to get jump started on some of these things, but and maybe I'll come back to this, but I think I shared with you, Lisa, recently, it's really funny how people will reveal to you. And I've had more, even since the last time we had another episode, of women who just want to talk about it. And I don't even know how we get there other than just physically feeling the same age. So on that note, we're going to jump into the flash and tell, where we get to talk about, the funniest thing that happened. And I'm going to go ahead and pivot to you, Lisa. I think, is it me or you that's doing the flash and tell this week?
I think I am, but we both could.
I love it. I think that's so much to share, but you go, flash and tell. We're on you. What's up?
All right. So I had a funny thing happen yesterday, and it was one of those moments where you hear yourself say something and you're like, oh, I just said that. And I was on a virtual FaceTime. FaceTime is virtual, but I was on a FaceTime with a representative.
When that happens, you blame menopause. Blame menopause.
Well, hold on. So I was on a FaceTime with a representative from Pottery Barn because I'm getting some design help for my dining room. And so she's like, she calls me and I answer, and like I see her face, and she's like, okay, well, whenever you're ready, can you flip the phone? And as we all know, Apple likes to do all these updates, and then all of a sudden FaceTime looks different than last time I was on FaceTime. And I'm like, where's the switch? Where's the flip button? And she's like, I think if you look in the top right corner. And I'm like, there it is. And I'm like, yep, I am that old lady right now.
It happens.
How do you turn the camera? Yeah,
and yet you were able to figure out Meta. So I'm just saying, you should have just been like, look, I have some credentials. It may not be for this particular platform, but it's definitely from this other one.
And I work in technology every day.
But it's just a matter of time till these moments, collectively happen where you look and you think, when did it all start? I can't even timeline it for you. I think that's, probably another episode, is like, when did you notice? When did it start? But I think it's those moments too that, just mark the experiences. It's everywhere, right? When we talk about chasing our experiences or sharing our experiences, it's nuanced throughout every day, everything we experience, and it's actually going to fit nicely into our pivot into our topic this week. So I love that you did that. I know, right? Look at that. And of course, when we have these conversations, we say to everybody our quick disclaimer every single episode, which is that we're here to be funny and to share experiences. Today, we're in absolutely no way medical professionals, so please do not take anything that we share other than just anecdotal and experiential, and investigate for yourself. So with that, we're here with the weight of it all. And when I say all, we're talking about all those experiences that you were just sharing about. And some of those experiences make their way into media. So, I brought it up before, and I think I'm gonna pitch this question to all of you, and ask, when we look at the world around us and the weight of it all, I'm curious how I know I've had my experiences in seeing how perimenopause has been represented, whether it's by stars or TV and film or other spaces around us. So when you say the weight of it all, I think it's how our world is also reflecting the experience back to us. So when you see it, whatever it is, and I'll give an experience or example, and I'll pivot to you, Melissa, here just in a second. But I was sharing with back in the a while ago, there was a show on with Sarah Snook, All Her Fault, and there was this female or multiple female characters. And in that storyline, it's really kind of incredible to see how that age, right? So after having a family, or in the middle of having a family, or in the middle of marriage or partnership, or in the middle of having a work life, you have all of these very specific to being an older woman experience. And I was watching it almost happen in real time in TV in that instance. So have you had those experiences where you kind of experience the weight of it all, meaning perimenopausal experience, not just through the eyes of others, but just like, where is it popping up in your life? Are you seeing it in like media? I know we're talking about seeing it in conversation. What kinds of experiences have you had?
mean, I'm sure there are examples, obviously, but brain fog and all that good stuff. I think that the first thing that comes to my mind is I've been seeing a lot about women executives who are leaving the corporate world and are starting their own like consultancies because number one, they're tired of that environment. And number two, that environment no longer wants to pay them. And so I was what they're worth. And so it just I'm I'm not in exactly that particular pivot, but I am in a life pivot, a career pivot. Just it changing the and I just think that that is par for the course for my age. I was born in 1981, and we've just, I grew up analog, but then I went into the technology. And every time there's been a technology, I've been like, all right, well, I'm learning it. I'm excited about it. And what I am noticing is that the mental lift and the physical lift and just the energy you need to start a brand new thing again is very, very hard. And I feel the fatigue of it more than I did at 30, more than I did at 20. And, I also tend to have a very pragmatic look at things. And I'm really having to switch that thinking because I'm not exactly starting completely over. There is a through line between everything I've done in my life. I just have to find that and figure out how these new things are working into that. But do I sit there and have moments and say, this fucking sucks? I wish I was 20 years old because I would have the energy to literally have five different, you know, revenue streams running all at one time. But the cognitive load gets different. When I was in college, I had five different jobs. I would go to, work at the amphitheater, and then I would go work for JCPenney and do the shoot. Then I would have school, and then I would have my study where I was doing research for a book, like just all of these things. And now it's like, wow, I can no longer do that. Or maybe I don't want to do that anymore. So that's the only thing I can think of whenever you say, oh, the weight of it all.
No, I think it's perfect because I think it really connects to this common thread. I'm going to play on your words, right? When we're talking about the thread of it, which is we have the ability, whether it's energy, interest, youth on our side, whatever it was, to juggle and to find out. So I'll go for something simple like the best and latest mascara, right? So I'm going to connect these two things, which is kind of maybe the navigating, finding it, and then learning about it and actually wanting it in your life, like you were talking about. And so even when we go to media, for me, the pressures of buying things or kind of remedying what that identity of who we are is part of that weight of it all is I know I need to know it. I need to use this product. I need to talk to my friends about it. I'm just trying to maybe get it through today. So I don't know that I want the weight of all of that on top of my own day-to-day experience. At least that's what I heard, which is that we're already trying to get through the basics of the day. Now I have to go and learn about a new product, or I'm feeling the weight of, am I like that character when I see her in film? Am I like not even knowing if I'm erratic, right? Like, so how like women would be portrayed.
Well,
Am I,
how it's portrayed. And I
yeah,
think 20 years ago, when our mothers were going through this time in their lives, it was portrayed as hot flashes in mood swings. And that was it. And that was it. And there were all these other pieces to the puzzle, right, that happened, and they were kind of unexplained or not talked about. And now it's like perimenopause is like a buzzword. I mean, it's trending, it's viral. And, you go on whatever social media site or you turn on the TV and there's commercials and there's infomercials and there's always a segment on the Today Show. And
All
it's
those
just
podcasts.
right, or all those podcasters. And
right?
it's just like it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And I think, people we admire, right? Celebrities and journalists. I mean, Oprah has like a perimenopause, menopause panel, like that she's done on her podcast and show. And like I feel like there's all this like buzz around it. So to your point, Suzanne, like I don't know where to go. It's almost like information overload on what's the best course of action for me to meet the symptoms that I'm experiencing as a person who's in perimenopause. And that was actually one of the questions that my doctor asked me when I started talking to her about it. And she was like, what are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? And I told her, and she was like, there's one person in particular, and she said, what do you think about her? And I said, I think it's too much. Like the expectation that I should take 10 different supplements and walk around a house in a weighted vest and do heavy strength training and do A, B, C, D, E, F, G just to feel normal again.
A whole new definition to the weight of it all, by the way, with the description that
Right.
you just gave.
I do like my weighted vest. But I don't wear it around the house to do laundry. Like, come on.
So is the weight of it all really around expectation? I mean, that's the bigger question. The expectation of ourselves, the expectation put on us by other people or society, the expectation to kind of, I struggle with that. I'll just say, because I feel that the expectation to have everything taken care of is a lot. Like, get your hair done, get your nails done. Oh, by the way, make sure all of your bodily functions are working properly in the way that you were 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years ago, which I want because of other reasons. But we're back
And
to
are
the
we
topic.
just trying to avoid the inevitable? I've kind of had that thought in my mind the past couple of weeks. Like, is this just a desperate attempt to hold on to my youth? Um, I don't know. Like, it's interesting because, again, like that's what the media makes you think, that you can stop it. You can stop aging from happening instead of a focus on aging gracefully. And I don't know. I'm throwing that out there now. I went off script. Sorry.
I think that what is bringing up for me is, the need to be seen, and
Mhm.
how we're seen as children, how we're seen as young women, how we're seen as middle-aged women, how we're seen as older women. Um, and it reminds me of that movie that Michelle Pfeiffer recently did, Oh, What Fun, where she's the mom at
Oh, yeah,
Christmas.
yeah,
Um, and she is just losing her absolute mind trying to do all of this stuff. And she really thinks that she's doing this for everybody else. She thinks that she's connecting, that she's creating these wonderful experiences. but each of her family members in their own subtle way are trying to tell her, well, no, we didn't really want this. This is actually an inconvenience, or just you don't have to do this to impress us. But she is the generation that those types of experiences were still expected to be curated by your mother, and whether you enjoyed it or not. And at the end of it, of course, she gets left behind, right? And she's very hurt, as she should be. um, but I was absolutely turned off by that movie because I knew that there were going to be a lot of people out there that really resonated with Michelle and were not going to ask whether or not she didn't have a part to play in that. And because I identified very much with the daughter. Actually, I didn't really identify with any of them because I never had that familial experience growing up. I mean, it was obviously when we were younger. Again, it is so hard to be in your own mind and seeing an activity from each perspective of the people at the room, right? The person who is making the food, the person who is opening the presents. Nobody's wrong, but nobody's right, and everybody has their own thing. And so I I don't know where I'm going with it. Try to thread the needle for me because I lost my point with my ADHD-ness.
No, no, not at all. Actually, I just want to, well, so we can go on that trail, which I think this is a demonstration of how, the web in which we're almost trying to find these little fine lines and how so intricate all of this experience really is. And I think it's a fantastic point to talk about the different perspectives, because I started off with this whole depiction or portrayal in media, and that we're trying to find ourselves in it. I mean, you talked about that even in that last film, and that how people perceive us even. So when we
A
get
lot of
into that, yeah, we're talking about what other people see or feel. I'm almost curious what they see in me. And I will tell you that I'm on a journey through the lens of my family of trying to lean in a little bit more, of listening to them instead of being defensive, because
Mm.
I was really insecure with my experiences and how I was behaving with this, kind of, and not as
Mhm.
aware as I am now, to then like, okay, how am I impacting others around me with this experience in a way that I can, um, I can manage, right? Because I think too, I don't want to take on too much either at the same time, which I think is kind of your point, right? Which is,
Well, what's hard about it is that you were doing the best that you can in the moment that you have, and you're also expected to be concerned about everybody else. And that's literally the thing that the younger generations are upset with the older generation about, is because, well, you just say it's my way or the highway, and you don't try to see it from my perspective. And it's like, because I literally had no energy to think about it your way. And that's why we're all going to therapy. And it's just.
Well, and the no, but I also think it comes back to like that perception of perfection that we see in the media. The perfect mom or the perfect child or the perfect husband, right? And then you throw in social media and what people post about themselves, which is almost always fake. And it's we're all striving for that. We feel the pressure to meet that, when in reality, it's a hot mess, and that's okay. It's okay for it to be a hot.
well, can I one up the weight?
Yeah.
I'm going to add some weightage to your weighted vest here, if I could.
Yeah, please do, please do.
How about the expectation that previous generations, we haven't done an
Mhm.
episode yet on our mother's experiences, or female, I would say, females in general in our life. I don't think it has to be a mother. I think it could be any relationship you have where somebody's an older generation has had this experience and said, well, I didn't have any of this stuff, or I find myself doing that even with my
Sure.
daughter and experiences. And there's the way of like, they managed, but did they? I mean, I
No.
guess. I mean,
No. I mean, my
no.
husband talks about his mom, and what he remembers from her menopause experience was her getting upset, starting to cry, and running into her bedroom and locking the door. And he and
Wow.
his dad stood outside the door and were like, "Are you okay?" And she wouldn't respond. And then they had no idea what was going on because she didn't want to talk about it, or she didn't understand it herself.
Well, I think that these experiences, having somebody to sit down and talk to about it, like we have, like where this all started, was probably a foreign idea, or it was one that was in secret, right? Like you might be with a friend
Mm,
doing something and it might have come up, and then you have this secret conversation about how to help yourself, or to at least feel affirmed in your experiences. That now, the rite of passage kind of piece to it is complicated. And I think it's a great way, because I think it's going to spur some other conversation. I think, if I will, I'll have you give the hot flash of the week, Lisa, real quick, because I think it really connects
for
here in
sure.
terms of how something's portrayed. So you want to throw your hot flash at us, and we'll keep on fishing through this.
So, like I was saying before, there's all these, celebrities that are jumping on, and influencers that are jumping on the perimenopause, menopause train. And one of them is Naomi Watts. And I really like Naomi Watts as an actress. And I've been seeing her talk about this all over the place, talking about her hot flashes and her brain fog. And I've seen multiple interviews. Well, now I know why I've seen multiple interviews, because she has launched a brand new nutritional supplement line, skincare line. It's kind of got a variety of products, exactly. And it's called Stripes. And I'm like, why is it called
As in earning?
Yes, yes, earning my stripes. And she even has a picture of herself, like earning my stripes, like in this t shirt. And I just, can I
I'm
tell
sorry. I'm being
you,
very vulgar this period. I'm sorry.
or can I tell you, one of the products is called Vag of Honor.
Somebody chat GPT that entire marketing campaign, and it did not go through the proper
No,
channels.
no,
Yeah.
it did not. It did not get, yeah. So I
That
just, again, there's so many things, there's so many people shopping their products, selling their products. And it's like, another, what's your name? Oh, my cousin Vinny, Marissa Tomei. My
Oh, okay.
boss, my
sure.
boss at work just told me about the new supplement she's taking for her perimenopause symptoms. And she's like, that one actress is selling it. And I'm like, what? And I'm
You
like,
threw a whole list.
she's like, yeah, and it's great. I really like it. It's like an all in one product. And I'm like, sure, it's an all in one product. It's not an all in one product. But, how do we, I don't know, as consumers, right? Do I just trust what my favorite, female actress is hawking? Or, do I go to my doctor? Is my doctor going to recommend any of these? But I mean, as we've been talking too, and we'll share in other episodes about our pharmaceutical journeys through this, and like what's
Mhm.
working, what's not working. It's not, there is no magic pill. There is no magic pill. And what combination of things works for you?
So initially, when you started talking, obviously from uh, my response, I was a little suspicious,
Hmm.
um, because it looks like a money grab, right?
Yes.
But then I thought about us and us creating this. It comes from a place of this is our experience. This is what we're trying to do. This is a community. But would we accept some money if somebody wanted to pay us to, talk about something? Sure, why not, right? And so it's this way
Let's
of.
do a spade.
I think you see a lot. This might be something that's coming up in our society as a whole, where we're having this conflict between the things that we're interested in and the experience that we have and what we're wanting to share with the world, and the consumerism of it, and people needing to be suspicious about what people are presenting because it may not be 100% altruistic. But then also, what is the good? It's the good of the things that are getting out there. It's So I think you just have to have discernment, right? First of all, these supplements
Absolutely.
can be FDA approved, if the FDA could get itself together. Uh, Number one, I think, because even there was some. So I have ADHD, and there was a doctor out there that was really popular, and then all of a sudden, he was kind of rebuffed, and there were some things that now what he was saying was not true, but like he had this whole line of supplements, and so it's just this weird place that we all are, where again it's another thing that we have to do to with the weight of it all. We now have to do research on our favorite actors and actresses, see what they're supporting and how they're doing it. So now I'm even more upset.
Interesting too how you get like sucked into it because I think it's relatable. You're like, oh, Naomi Watts and Marissa Tomei are
Well,
just so
sure.
cute.
She's got a
You
personal
know?
trainer and an in-house masseuse. That's why she, gets all these things every day. So of course she looks that way. I don't know.
The same can be said about any product we buy, though. I'll say that, right? Like in defense, it's a whole market, like you said, Melissa. And like we're all in pursuit of the perfect mascara, right?
Right.
So if we find the right mascara and it's the one that works for you, and it works for you, I kind of joke, right?
You're gonna write
That
that.
all of the work that I've done, let's pretend that whatever I started, which we'll talk about in a next episode a week ago, is placebo. But I feel this good. I don't know
Mm.
that I if I'm actually at a state of feeling better and I'm healthy and I'm taking care of myself and all of the ways that we just kind of highlighted, then, you know, we're just kind of on that hot pursuit of what works for us individually. And I think that's kind of what we've been messaging from the beginning, which is this is our story. That's all it is. If you like it, great. If you don't. Just know that you're not alone and through the storytelling, I think ultimately. So,
We don't like our stories either.
yeah,
Well,
No.
but
well,
it's a
and
great
to your point, Suzanne, I think talked about turmeric and how I thought like it was working. Well, so I stopped taking my turmeric, and then like I started having joint pain again, and I was like, "Holy moly, the turmeric works!"
There
And
you
if it
go.
works for you, like we have this conversation at home all the time. Yeah, I think you got to find what works for you and it doesn't work for
Yeah,
everybody. So speaking of which, it's a
we're
great
all
time
different.
to jump into your hot take. I'd love to know what each of your hot takes is for the week, as we kind of think about like the thing that works for us, right? Or before we go, how we tell them one last thing, that either has happened to you or you want to share that is in line with our work here as we take our hot take for this particular episode.
Somebody else go. I'll think about it.
Well, I think my hot take of the week is I am still, and I know that I've talked about it before, but I can actually count not quite beyond one hand, but close of this past week of my life alone. How many people, women, have quickly self disclosed or identified or connected through the conversation of perimenopause? And not because I said, hey, by the way, I've got a podcast, but just this interesting. And I think that the common question is, and my hot take is this, and probably another episode, is the differing experiences with doctors and the sharing of resources. Can you send me who you go to? And it's not because everybody's found the person. It's because I think we're resourcing. I need to ask multiple people thing is my new hot take, which is really in line with what you were saying, Melissa, which is to do your homework. And so we talk about, no homework. I'm going to say do your homework and ask a lot of questions of a lot of the people. And that doesn't mean that you're challenging anybody, and somebody can differ, right? So a medical professional that you really value and think the world of might just have a different opinion. It doesn't mean they're good, bad, or less. They're just different. And so that's my hot take is that as you kind of think about sharing your resources with each other, both in, resourcing, but being supportive. Like we all don't
Well,
all have the
honestly,
same
because
experience.
you're going to have that one friend that really loves and is thriving on doing research and asking questions. And then you're going to have the other one that has so much cognitive overload that you just need to push her to where they need to be. Like, go here, do this. Because to imagine that you're going through all of these symptoms and experiencing this chaos internally, and that you now have to, be uh, a researcher, it's just hard stuff.
It really
But
is.
somebody help you with it is great.
And Lisa.
Um, I think I'm laughing about, your comment about asking and talking. And like everybody, it seems like everywhere you go, it comes up in conversation with all your different groups and circles of people, whether it's at work or with social circles or with family. Because it feels like we're all looking for the answers, right? To find, what's the next best thing that's working for somebody, and I might try it too. And I think I've tried to just hone in on consistency and not feeling like I need to do everything all the time, but just being consistent in my approach and giving it time to work, because none of these things are going to work overnight. Like I said before, there is no magic pill. But if I use something consistently and let it kind of build up in my system or in my routine, I might feel or see better results.
Well said. Well, with that, I just want to say thanks for listening to the Hot Flash Pod. And of course, if you laughed, cried, or felt seen today, share with a friend who needs it. And until next time, stay cool. Bye.
Is it me, or is it burning up in here? Who turned up the heat? Laugh, cry, sweat dry, shifting every gear. Oh, the drama. 3 friends riding out this wild left turn. Got a story for every sudden burn. Welcome to the Hot Flash Pod. We're laughing while our bodies play hard. Pull up a chair, you're one of us. Talking through the chaos, calling out the fuss. We'll turn this roller coaster into a nod to every blazing hazy. Is it just me? Day Hot Flash Pod. We're gonna laugh it away. Brain fog, mood jog. What was I just saying? Jeans tight, sleep light, heart still staying. We spill the tea on every twist and turn. If you're sweating in the cereal aisle, it's your turn. Welcome to the Hot Flash Pod. We're laughing while our bodies play hard. Pull up a chair, you're one of us. Talking through the chaos, calling out the fuss. Hot Flash Pod. We'll turn this roller coaster into a nod to every blazing hazy. Is it just me? Day Hot Flash Pod. We're gonna laugh it away. So hit play, lean back, feel seen. We're turning Perry into comedy queen. This is the Hot Flash Pod.